Okay, so in this 8-minute video, I'm just going to recap my first year with the Flow-Hives, and in this case, you're looking at a Flow Super, which is sitting on a 10-frame Langstroth standard box. So these frames are interchangeable. Prior, they had the smaller Flow-Hive, which had only 6 frames, which matched an 8-frame Langstroth box. And now we have, of course, this full-size 10-frame Langstroth, 7-frame Flow Super, all together in the new Flow-Hive. And this is Hoop Pine, which comes from Australia. Now this gives me a chance to show you up close exactly how the flow frame works, and I want you to see the gaps in it. And notice that if there were bees on or in these cells, they have plenty of time and space to move out without being injured. And this shows the flow frame in its open position, which allows it to drain the honey out. Now, when you're looking at your flow frames early on, you'll see that honey gets stored in those cells, and we're viewing this from the end panel of the Flow-Hive. Don't get excited and start to think that because you see honey there and there seems like there's a lot of it, that it's time to go ahead and pull that out. I'm going to ask you to be patient and wait. Your bees may actually never fill these frames. So I would suggest that you wait and make sure that the cells are full and that the cells are capped with cap wax before you think about draining honey out of a Flow-Hive. And this is a view on the side panel, which shows the last frame, and it shows that these cells are pretty much full and that they are capping them. So you're very close to the time when you could drain and extract honey from these flow frames. Now we look at these frames, and they are absolutely full of honey, and they've been capped. So this is an example of frames and cells that can be extracted, and we're going to do that draining demonstration right now. It's preferred that you do this on a nice hot day so that the honey flows and that the mechanism functions easier. You also want to make sure to have an adequate sized jar. In this case, we're using quart jars, but you need plenty standing by. You may get as much as half a gallon from a single flow frame. And here we see the cells gradually draining. And the bees will detect right away that the honey is going away, and they will start removing the cap wax. And they'll start cleaning up the cells, and they'll be bringing in more honey, more nectar. Now, all of my hives did not perform the same with these flow frames. Some of them, actually, I never extracted honey from through the entire year. This particular colony was very productive. And now we're going to use a refractometer to verify that the water percentage in the honey is low enough that we would not have problems with fermenting. The lower the water percentage, the better, but you definitely want to be well below 20%. And right now we're at about 17.5% water in this honey, so that would store perfectly, and it's absolutely ripe and ready to go. Something to notice that was different about the Flow-Hive is because we're extracting flow frame by flow frame, we had a wide variation in what honey was in each frame. This is something that we always missed before when extracting traditionally and mixing all the honey together. Now that the frames are empty, the bees are right back in there, cleaning up and starting to bring in new nectar. And as you can see now, this is less than 2 weeks after the prior extraction, and they're already filling the frames again. And I caution you once more that unless they cap the honey, don't extract or drain it out. Here it is again, fully capped, and this time we got half a gallon from each frame. And remember, this is surplus honey. We're not taking away from what they would need to get them through winter, so you have to use your judgment on that. This is a gallon jar being filled by 2 frames at one time. Now there are some particulates in this honey that's coming out this time around, and we did get problems with the honey solidifying in the jars and also even in the frames if you don't drain them completely. There's a gallon on the right and a half gallon on the left. Now all the frames were empty. What I'm showing you now is this spring. So this Flow Super has been on through the winter. The bees went up in there and used all the honey and did not lay eggs in it. There was no queen excluder present, but that's not the right thing to do, and I'm going to show you why. Here's another Flow Super where we left it on through the winter without a queen excluder, and what you're looking at is capped brood in the flow frames. So the lesson learned there is you absolutely want to put your queen excluder in between your Flow Hive, your Flow Super, and the brood boxes down below. You also want to make sure to go ahead and remove your flow frames after you've done that last extraction and drain them out in the fall. Otherwise you'll end up with frames like this one that were not drained, but yet they were removed from the hive, and portions of these frames are candied in the cells. Always let your honeybees clean things up for you. They get a little benefit from that. And thank you for watching, and I hope that you're going to continue to learn about pollinators and honeybees, and that you'll get to know a beekeeper in your area and maybe start keeping a colony of your own. I wish you well in all that you do, and thanks for watching and for attending this presentation.